Roxanne.
Tear bear, tearing up my heart.
Today we are switching roles and I am taking the seat of host of RoxTalks because I'm interviewing you about your amazing wedding.
Okay. Let me get ready. Carry on. I'm ready.
Okay, get the bride hair out. Oh,
Right here.
thank you for doing that.
My hair is here.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
So, our listeners, you guys have gotten to hear like Roxanne planning, propping, doing all the fun things for the actual wedding, all the time in the behind the scenes. So, we're like, you know what? Today's episode is literally going to be all about the wedding because we want all the details, maybe some behind the scenes things we didn't get on social media, like, consummating the marriage. Need to know that. Ah!
It's my pearls.
Like I'm a married lady now. So, first of all, first question is if you had to rate your wedding from 0 being really bad, you would never do it again, to 10 being the most amazing time of your life, where are you rating this wedding week at?
100. 100. It was
Everything.
everything was perfection. Like if y'all know me, I have actually been a wedding planner before, and actually one of our dear friends just asked if I'd plan her wedding, be a day of coordinator coming up in January, and of course I'll do that. So I know that when you're a bride, you have to understand that the wedding, something is going to go unplanned. That is just how it's going to happen. And the best thing you can do is know that that's going to be that way, because if you're not, then the day's not perfect. And if you accept that and you know that and you just enjoy the day for what it is, or for me, the week, it is perfect. And it was perfect. I didn't go in with much stress. I had an amazing time. When I was little, I had a dream I had a week-long wedding. Fact.
Yeah.
I had that dream. And there's different things from that dream that came true, which are just so cool. Because I'm not the girl who had the book. Here's my wedding book. But I had a specific vivid dream when I was younger. And this was perfection.
So what from the dream came true? I want to know.
Well, it was a week-long wedding. We were getting married in the middle of the week. People were going to come. There'd be different activities. We'd have fun. And it was just like, we'd still be hanging out with them after the wedding as well, too. Because I just wanted it to be like a celebration. And also seafoam. My bridesmaids were in seafoam dresses in the dream. One of my sisters was in sage, which back when I had that dream was seafoam. So, and I also think, I didn't get married in my dream by the beach or at a beach. Destination somewhere, but I just think it all came together. Those things popped in. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So let's start from the beginning and arrival. How'd you get there?
We flew. So we left on
how many planes?
Shame on me. We left on Sunday afternoon. So on Sunday, Daniel, who's like my brother, and he wasn't able to make the wedding, but he had a conflict, but he was able to come and work from our place and watch Baylor. So he flew in that day, that Sunday. We hung out, and then we went and we all got our nails done. So mani pedis. And then we came home, got our suitcases, and we went to the airport. And so we flew. I wore white the entire time. I think I need to do something that shows all my white outfits, because I owned white. I owned it, man.
Yes.
So we flew from here to Salt Lake City. We had a layover while there, and then Salt Lake City to Fort Lauderdale. Then my sister and her boyfriend met us there on Monday morning. So we did a red eye. And then we went over to Fort Lauderdale has a executive airport. That's a small airport. We got to the executive airport, and that was where we took a little plane for an hour and a half that took us straight to the island of South Andros, which is the most magical place. It is.
That is so amazing. So you kind of flew like the Kardashians, I'm picturing.
Yes, we very much they had a bottle of champagne for us. We had this little seating area, like a little room, like our own little private room for the plane. And they're like, we're ready for you. And we just walked onto the plane, and got on the little plane and traveled. You get to see the sea and the islands and everything. And I mean, literally the captain is in front of you. I could touch the captain. I could probably have jumped up flew the plane. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I should have.
I mean, you could, you're a manifester, so you
I
definitely would
know.
just know. Wow.
Exactly. Missed opportunity on my part. So
Yeah.
and then we landed, and literally the airport is the size of not even a post office, like a little one room house. That was the airport. Has one
Yeah.
runway. So literally you see all this green, because it's such a uninhabited island. You see all the tops of trees and you see one runway. I'm like, I guess that's where we're landing. We
Yeah.
landed there, went through customs, and they asked me, like, what are you coming for? Like, what? And like, oh my God. Went through customs, which was just a guy kind of looked at your bags, opened them, and was like, okay, go. And then there was a van from Lamar. That's where we got married. They were waiting for us. So we got into the van. We got there. If you've never watched Renovation Island, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you should. Oh, I do have some things. I just remember that I haven't said yeah, just some good stuff. Okay, so we get there. It's beautiful, 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 and they give you a welcome drink and they give you the tour, so you see where all the things were. Like, oh, I remember that. Oh, that's where that is. And they walked us to our room, which by the time you're done with the tour, your bag's are already in your room. Because you must
Nice.
understand there's like 20 some rooms and like whatever villas. So we got into our room, which was beautiful. And then I think we ate. I don't remember what we did that first day. We ate probably like lunch outdoors, looking at the view. I had the best Caesar salad shrimp, grilled Caesar. They grilled the Caesar
Oh, like
salad
the
with shrimp.
lettuce.
The
Yeah.
lettuce was grilled. So good.
Yum. Yum.
Big old shrimp. And then I don't remember what we did. Scott jumped in the pool. I mean, like, we knew that was going to happen. He,
Is that
oh,
what he does?
he just said he went to the ocean first. Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
like I thought he was going to drop everything and go straight in there and forget the tour, but he went to the ocean first. He went to the pool. I, of course, couldn't do any of those things before the wedding because I was not going to mess up my hair or my lashes before wedding day. So that was like, water was off limits for me, which I was fine with because we have a mission, people. We have a mission.
Yes, that can come after.
Yeah. And like they asked, what time would you like dinner? What time would you like a dinner reservation? I'm like, oh, okay. So Rochelle and Rich, her boyfriend, Scott and I had dinner, and dinner was magical and delicious. And like, and then I don't remember what we did that night.
You guys got in Monday. Like you were there.
We got in Monday. Sorry. He goes,
Yeah.
oh, I remember what we did.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. And the first night we stayed in their premium suite or their club suite, which is like complete water view. So you have an L basically of windows. Your two walls of the room are windows, and we could also see the pool and the beach. We were moving into the villa the next day. So yeah, we were there the first day, that Monday. And then do you want to hear about Tuesday?
Yeah, let's move right into Tuesday.
Tuesday, we woke up. We love to wake up and see the sunrise. So we woke up and we watched the sunrise.
I need to pause you here for a second because so I saw this post and I was doing the math in my head. Were you watching it at 3 a.m.? Like what time was it there?
Sunrise. Well, it's Eastern time zone.
Oh,
Eastern
okay.
time zone. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, wait a second. You posted this 3 hours ago. I was watching it at 9 Eastern. I was like doing 6 hours back.
And then you did the back on the Pacific. Sunrise there was 6:27 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. And there are a few other people out there like watching the sunrise. And then the staff, they're putting things out and they're so sweet. And so we watched the sunrise. Then we walked over to the coffee shop. Then we walked over to the coffee shop and we had our first, they're known for their smoothies there. Our first smoothie. Oh, that beautiful mango, something wonderful. I had the love, he had the fresh. I had the fresh, he had love. And then we walked over and had breakfast. And the staff at Lamar. Like if you're looking for something, it's just, they're amazing. So anyhow, the breakfast was amazing. So delicious. And then we had to go get ready because we were going to go into town to get our marriage license. Because you have to get it you have to be on the island a certain amount of days or in the Bahamas before you can get married. So we went and we drove. Shonique, who was our event planner, she did everything that week. She drove us in. So it was really cool to see the island. They have one road. There are no stop signs. There are no lights. That's not a thing. The road is, if you drove the whole island, is an hour and a half. And
Okay.
like, is there traffic? Like, well, we stopped for the land crabs. So when the land crab was walking across the street to go lay its eggs,
Babies.
they stopped that. But so we
Okay.
saw like the homes, we saw the school, and the Bahamas, they're having their 50th independence anniversary. It was yesterday, actually. So they're getting ready for that. And then we went into this building that literally was the post office, the magistrate, that anything you think was in that room. And we met. She was such a sweet woman. She was giving us great advice. Can I tell you though, when I filled out, we had to sign all the stuff. When I filled out stuff for the marriage license, it said Roxanne Wilson, to my name, and then it said like my occupation, and it said spinster. I started laughing so hard. I'm like, what? I'm like, what
Where
is
did they
this?
get that?
I'm like, spinster, because I've never been married before. I'm considered a spinster. That is freaking British, Old English nonsense. James, who's part of our podcast team, if you can hear me, that's nonsense. Like, so everything said behind my name, spinster, spinster, spinster.
Yeah,
I'm like, I have to
Roxanne the
sign.
spinster.
I'm like, what? I'm like, spinster? I'm like, spinster in the US means like old hag, old maid. Are you serious?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what mine said, spinster. I'm like, what
Thank
about
God you got
bachelorette?
married to get rid of that. Like, gosh, you
Who are you
spinster.
telling? I'm like, spinster. I'm like, that was funny. I turned to Scott at first and I go, we must never speak of this again.
You will tell no one.
I will tell no one, but I'll tell everyone. Yes. So then we drove back, and like if you can imagine, there's one ATM on the island. It's 30 minutes away if we ever wanted to get to it. The bank is only open twice a week.
Okay.
The gas station is only open like 3 days a week. And there's like one on one side of the island, one on the other. I just want to like paint the picture of this amazing, this island, that the way that it was. So we got back. We met with our wedding planner, and we met with the pastor, who also is like the head of the island, equivalent to the mayor, who also is the football coach, soccer coach, and the baseball coach. So I
Busy
like,
man.
a lot of jobs. And then my family came in that day. All of our guests came in. So all of our guests came in that day, and they came in all at the same time, and they came from different places. It was kind of fun to see them all. Some of them had met in Miami and flown over to the last flight together. So it was just really great. They came in, they were eating, having a great time, and it was 4th of July. That was that day. So we had the welcome reception that night. We moved over to the villa that day too. That's the other thing we did. The villa.
What's the difference between the villa and the suite?
The villa is its own villa, like a freestanding. It is your own place. House. Yeah. It's a house. Yeah, it's a house. Okay. That was directly on the beach. Whereas the suite is like, there's a block of rooms, and it's the ones that are directly on the beach, but it's a block of rooms. So you share a wall with someone. When we got to the villa, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so fun. I was looking like, it'd be so cool if we could just get married right there, because we hadn't picked our marriage location yet, knowing that we'd pick it when we got there. So she took us around, and I'll have to show the video of the whole villa. But the villa, it was perfect. Like, it was perfect. It was just perfect. If I'm not being descriptive enough, you can holler at me and ask me more questions.
I need to know if there was a hot tub, because that's what I personally look for
anytime I go somewhere. So I love that you asked that, because in the show Renovation Island, when they first went to the island and to renovate the place, there was a hot tub, and they said there's no point in the hot tub, and they took it out. And they're right about that, because the water in the pool was so warm, but not hot, room temperature. And then the water in the ocean is so warm. You don't need a hot tub.
But what about in your room? That's what I want, like the hot tub in the room.
You mean a bathtub?
Like a jacuzzi, yeah.
They took those out as well too when they did the renovation, which was so weird, because there's a sitting area, and they took those out. You got to watch the show. And they made the shower such that it was a double shower head, plus there's a sitting area in there. So we were able, so I mean, it was
make that work.
Yeah. It could work. It could work. And so we got ready for the welcome reception, and that was out there. The chefs, they were so great. Chef Carlos and Chef Janet. Everyone loved the food, and that's what I was like. I knew I'd love the food, but I didn't go and try it before. Like everything was sight unseen.
Yeah.
I could tell, and but everyone was having a great time. Welcome reception. They were playing. They had like cornhole and stuff, and like I saw like my dad playing with my now bonus children. Like and like just people were mixing and mingling. I'm like, oh, this is great. And so we went to bed at the end of that. No. I'm sorry. That was the welcome reception. Then we had dinner. So I saw different people at dinner. We had dinner, and then we went to bed. But the guests, like, they got in the pool and they had midnight swims and were doing like they were having a great time, which I love.
Good.
Yeah, we were exhausted. And then the next morning, I got up to the rest of sunrise. Scott was sleeping, but Taylor, um, my daughter Taylor, she texted and said, "Is anyone watching sunrise?" I'm like, "I am." And all of a sudden, I see her walking across the beach because from my patio, the beach is right there. So I was like,
Yeah.
"Taylor." So she came. She didn't see the villa yet. I showed her the villa. We tried to wake up Scott. He didn't wake up. He was very tired. So then we went, she and I went and said, let's get smoothies and coffee. So we walked. As we're walking, we ran into Scott's sister who was on her. Every room has a patio so you
Yeah.
can see the ocean. So she was sitting on her patio reading a book. So I'm like, come on, we're getting coffee. So she joined us and we're walking to the coffee shop. And then my aunt was already there drinking coffee there. And my older sister Rhonda showed up. And we were all sitting there. I was like, y'all, I said, I need a moment because this is exactly what I pictured. I
Yeah.
did not want the Vegas experience, which you can't get in the Bahamas, around Mantis and Mar, where like you can't get to people fast enough. Like you couldn't
Yeah.
run into people. That's just not going to happen. Take you 30 minutes to get back from your room. And it was just like we were all just having time there. I'm like, this is exactly what I envisioned, which just made me so happy. So then that day was pizza day because twice a week
Ooh.
they do fire oven roasted pizzas. So I was like, everyone does pizza. By the way, I was drinking my Gully Wash last Sky Juice. They all knew the resort knew that was my drink. I was so excited because they literally the coconuts on their property. They cut them down and they cut them open and it was fresh coconut juice or coconut
That's
water.
what you're drinking in your,
That's what
your
you're drinking.
cocktail.
Yes,
Oh.
fresh. It was so good. I had so many of them. So that day was the rehearsal. So we did the rehearsal on the beach. So when we picked our location, Shanique took us around to look at the different locations on the beach. And she's like, "You can get married over there." I'm like, "That's it." She's like, "What?" She's like, "That's the place. That's exactly that is what I envision. That's what I want." She's like, "You don't need to see the others." I'm like, "No." She's like, "That was easy." Because literally I walked down the steps of my villa, turned right, walked down went down to the beach and it's like literally right there. Like that's how I wanted it. And it was that way. And I was like, I can't believe I get to marry
Did you
there.
get ready right there? Like in your villa? That's where you got ready. So you just like came out and you're like,
yes. Yes. And here I am. Exactly. And it was just like, that is what I wanted. I didn't want Scott to be able to see me until I turned the corner. And like, it was exactly, I'm like, I can't believe this. So we get dressed for the rehearsal. No, wait, so we did rehearsal. The rehearsal finished fast. I was not into like a long rehearsal. Y'all get it, you will get it. If you walk in the wrong spot, I don't care. Let's get over it. I've done too many of those. I'm like, it's not a big deal. And then our photographer, Alfred, from Alfred Anderson Wedding, who's amazing, who flew from another island to come to our wedding. He came the day before and he took pictures of Scott and I in our rehearsal dinner outfits, and then Scott and I and Taylor and Jack. So we got a bunch of like family pictures on the beach. He actually made Scott, he's like, we're gonna try something. Okay, we're all gonna walk, but Roxanne, I want you to get on Scott's back. And then he had another one. We're living. I'm like, this is hilarious. And I told my dad that, and my dad's like, aren't you glad you lost all those pounds? You said you want to lose? We were like funny. I'm like, I'm not glad, but Scott's definitely glad.
I was gonna go the other way. Like, isn't Scott so glad he's been, doing all this lifting? And so
there's that too. That works. So the dress I wore to the rehearsal dinner. Did you see the lace one where it was just like the shorts and
Yes. I looked at them all. I was like obsessed. Oh my God, like those outfits are beautiful.
She made that, and I saw a vision of what I wanted, and I'd shown it to her, and she took it to like 55 more levels. I'm like, you need to do some wedding things because she's a fashion designer. I'm like, you need to do a whole wedding like trunk because this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm in that and I walk over to the outdoor bar. The outdoor bar is called Drift. And I'm there and I look up and I was like, oh, it's a Balmer. So if you know the show Renovation Island are Sarah and Brian Balmer, and they have 4 kids. And I look up and I see Charlotte, their oldest daughter, and she's sitting like 6 feet from me. And I'm like, darling. And so I'm like, hi. I'm like, can I get a picture with you? And she's like, sure. And we talked a little bit. I was like,
Yeah.
which on my wedding magazine
Yeah.
that I made, I had a scavenger hunt. And one of the things, like, the first thing was like, get a picture with the Balmer, with one of the family members. And you're like, I don't know if they're going to be there, whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh. So not only was she there, she just gotten in, she actually helped with my wedding.
She did.
Yes.
Wow. So she flew in for the wedding, probably.
She flew in, I don't know if she flew in for the wedding, but she flew in to be there. She loves being there. She's interested in like hospitality and management.
Yeah.
Hotel. And she like, so I talked to her several like times and but I was like, when they told me, I'm like, she's gonna do my wedding? What? That is just so cool. That's like the full experience. So we had the rehearsal dinner, and for those decorations, what I did is I got pictures of either Scott and I with all of our guests, or his children did have guests that we like, their boyfriends. We hadn't met them yet, so I gave me a picture of them together. But that was like your table setting, so you were gonna sit. And so I couldn't figure out what I wanted for table runners. I was going back and forth, but I'm the girl who won't buy something on Amazon if it doesn't have like a billion reviews. My sisters and my mom aren't like that. They don't care. So they surprised me, like, the ones you're looking at that you refused to get, we got, and they were perfect. And can I just tell you, the decorations, my mom and my sisters had several different, for the wedding reception, I'm jumping, they had several different test runs of like putting out my mom's big table. It was all designed for what it would look like. They did it over and over again, and I'd come into town, they'd show it to me, but they kept doing it over and over again, just trying to get the right thing and the color I wanted for the cheesecloth and all these things. So they had painstakingly worked on it. And my sweet sister Rochelle, maid of honor, brought 90% of that stuff, plus my dresses on the plane, plus my bouquets. She carried all that. I didn't carry any of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many suitcases did she have?
Well, let's just say we did pay like a cargo fee for our plane, so we could bring a lot of stuff on that little plane.
Wow.
Yeah. But they loved it. So we told, the decorations were perfect for both of the events, but we told them like, hey, we don't want any of this. You can keep anything you want. And they're like, we were just saying it was the most beautiful wedding all season. We're keeping all of it. And it was like the biggest compliment. So they kept all the decorations, so they can use them again. And like, to me, I'm like, that I started crying when they did that. I was so excited.
You're starting a trend here now. Like, they're gonna probably have a few more weddings because of this, and then they can use your decor, and you're gonna see it on Instagram and be like,
yay, spread the love. I love that. So we had the rehearsal dinner, which was great. The food was amazing. It was funny because the bread pudding, my dad, the night before a dinner, was like, I'd like some bread pudding. They don't have any bread pudding. He says, what? Because you have to understand, their menu is what the menu is. He's so silly and funny, though. So he got his bread pudding that day, and they made him bread pudding specifically for the wedding. Just him, because they knew he liked it.
This is like some high level like touches they're giving. You guys were like
high level touches. Everyone knew who we were all. They knew us all by name. Greeted us. I'm like, that's like, how do they know? I'm like, well, they have meetings about us. And I'm like, he's like, no way. And she's like, yeah, we have a meeting, plus they have a manifest, and all of the details of everything we're doing all day are in there. So everyone on staff knew, like, it was going down. They were so professional and wonderful and so lovely, such lovely people. So that night, go ahead. Question.
I was going to say, so that night, the night before the wedding, did you guys meet separately, or did you?
No, we did
together?
Not. We stayed together. And my mom did a beautiful speech at the wedding rehearsal dinner, by the way, which was really special. We slept together. We're already non-traditional, but we slept together. But my point was, like, at a certain point, I want to see you. So he knew he had to vacate by 11:30. Because that morning I was going to get up, do morning yoga, and then switch around, have breakfast, which it's funny because we both it's not a big room. The Muska's dining room, if you know from the show, is not huge, but he was on one table and I was at the other, like so we couldn't see, like we didn't.
Yeah.
He was previously writing his vows because I said we were going to write our own vows, and he was like, "No, no." I'm like, "We are. We're going to do this." And I saw him sitting there rocking, writing, working on the last finishing touches of his vows and stuff, which he didn't know that I hadn't written mine either. I wrote mine like I wrote mine maybe on the Monday or the Tuesday. I sat down and started writing them. I was like, I got up
Yeah.
one morning. I'm like, let me write my vows. I should do that since I've given him our touch. Fine. So I had breakfast with my sister Rochelle, and then I went and I cleaned up the villa, right? And I packed his bag as well too because I knew he would know when he got vacated, excommunicated from the room and whatnot. So that was together. And then I went to get my massage, which I'd already planned on having a massage, which I think we talked about, hadn't we? Maybe. The reason I mentioned this is because when I go at some point that day, they tell me your massage has been covered by your rock stars.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
I knew this.
you knew this? I didn't.
Uh-huh.
This is the sweetest thing. Are you kidding? That was so sweet. So all the rock stars, you know who you are, and I am actually going to take a moment because I finally know who you are too. I'm like, who did this? I need to know everyone. So I am going to take a moment right now, if you don't mind. I just want to do a
Yeah.
huge shout out to Kelly Gable LaBelle, Sarah Tranum, Dr. Lisa, Anita, Wendy Craig, Nancy, Crazy Nancy Wild, Rose Suggs, Linda Holloway, Jen Corkum, Julie Winkles, Tilla, Laura Johansson, Laura Billings, Sandy Nason, Allie Johnson, Chris Detton, Dinah Smith, Elizabeth Ann Kilpatrick, Erin Anderson, Grace Farquhar, Kate Horwitz, Christy Nell Eldridge, she's a newlywed, Lynn Dominic, Mary Dahlman, Tammy Hogue, Terry Maher, Wellesley, my girl Wells Rogers, and Niece Johnson and Alan Roberts. Thank you all so much. You guys, that was the sweetest surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for
Isn't that
that.
amazing?
Thank you for yes, and the breakfast in bed the next day or on the balcony, we did on the patio, and then a little romantic surprise and champs and treats. Yes.
Whoa, I didn't know. Wow, that just kept going, the list.
I was
Wow.
like, what? That's
Yeah.
amazing. So I want to thank you all. That was so sweet. I felt chill there anyway, but that was what a touch. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And the massage was so wonderful. So there's that. I wore, my aunt had made me a cover up for me to wear. And so we flipped me around in this white cover up that was beautiful. And I walked in and the masseuse was like, oh, okay. She's like, you don't understand. I saw you. I've been taking pictures of you in this when I walked into work, and I was like, I need to meet her. And everyone's like, you got a massage. You got to go. And she's like, and now you're not here. I was like, oh my gosh, you were the sweetest. And so the massage was lovely. I fell straight asleep. During this massage, big rainstorm came through. I could hear the lightning. It started raining. I could hear you can't hear lightning. I could hear the thunder.
You could maybe like the crack.
Maybe. I'm like, I am not going to stress this. I know they say it's good luck on your wedding day, but I'm like, I'm not going to stress this because it's my wedding day and the rain will be there. What no one knew was if it did rain during my wedding, I was still walking down the aisle and onto that beach raining.
Heck yeah.
Our guests would have had to watch it, I guess, inside on the video,
Yeah.
but I was still, if they didn't want to get wet, but I was still getting married on that beach. So I'm like, I'm not going to tell them that because I'm like, no, Roxanne.
Yeah.
What's funny is my sister Rochelle told me when it started raining, she grabbed her umbrella and she walked right down to the front desk. She's like, what is the rain plan? And they're like, the rain is supposed to be gone by 2:00. It'll be fine.
Good. And good. She could stress for you, so you didn't have to.
Okay.
I did.
When I got out of my massage, it was done, and I started to walk to get lunch, and my sister's like, he's in there. So I'm like, okay. So I went to the bar, ordered my lunch, and they brought it to the villa. And at that point, I just put on some music. My good friend Tanya, who was there, she came in and we hung out while I was doing my makeup. She's also a huge beauty influencer, Ranko Beauty, so that helped as well too. So if I did anything, I'm like, she's like, add a little this, add a little that. But He was there just to like keep me just so he could hang. And then my photographer came at 3, and my mom and my sisters and Taylor came over, and we just started getting ready. And there was so much space, and I had gummy bears everywhere, just so you know. Gummy bears,
Yay!
yeah, and stamps came. You know what I did for Scott too? I had them send over like Kalik is a Bohemian bear and the bear choice, and I had him send it over to his room.
Yeah.
And I packed a 2-pound thing of gummy bears, sugar finger gummy bears, in there for him as well too. He didn't touch any of it. And his son was like, "Dad, don't you want to have a drink?" He's like, "I'm not drinking anything before the wedding. No, no, no." Like,
Why? Because he just wanted to like remember the
cupcakes
everything
and
and
everything. And later I heard Jack, his son was, or our son, I guess, was talking to my newborn son, who's wonderful, was talking to my sister, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, Dad is like freaking out. He's like rocking, he's pacing everywhere. He needs to chill out."
I love when guys get all nervous for it.
Oh,
Like,
I love it.
I love that. That is
I
so
was
cute.
so calm. I was enjoying the music, dancing around. Alfred, you know, when you meet a photographer sight unseen, you just never know. I was never worried about it. I
Yeah.
knew he was gonna be wonderful, and he did. He was so great at keeping us on time. He did all the shots, got all those great things. Now I hadn't touched or tried on my dress since the last fitting at Tailored and White. Hadn't touched the dress, hadn't anything. So when it was time to like put it on after we'd done the pre-shops and stuff, it zipped more easily than it ever zipped before. And I said, "Look at that." And I was like, "Do y'all remember the first day?" And my old sister's like, "Ron," I was like, "We don't talk about that day." Like, okay, but I'm just saying this is great. And
You're like,
Rochelle was
look
like,
how
"Are you
far
sure?"
I've come.
Exactly. And Rochelle was like, "Are you sure it's not zipping up higher or better? Because I'm just better at zipping." And I'm like, "Could be that as well too." But what I didn't tell y'all is I started my period. Yes, that thing that comes. It
What
came
day?
the Saturday before we left, Saturday
Okay.
night,
Okay.
which means I had to travel in all white, y'all. And white, all white.
Yeah.
So I had like, I'll tell you, I had period panties that I got overnight or the same day from Amazon. I
Hmm.
got all these period panties. I was like, "This is not cute." I've never tried Super Plus tampons. I'm like, give me all the things. Give them all to me. Like all the, oh my gosh. Um, and so everyone's like, "Well, it should be gone by Thursday." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Mm,
No.
think so, people." So anyway, because I'm like, I just knew it was going to be a week long period. I'm like, "This is going to be a week long period. This is how it's going to be." So because of that, my sisters, because remember if you recall, when this whole all went down, my first fitting, that was not good. Um, it turned out my period started 2 days later. So part of it was bloat, is what
Yeah.
everyone said it was, whatever. So because of that, they sent me this like these what are those things? Shaper underwear to wear and stuff. And I'm like, "I don't want to wear it. I
Yeah.
don't want to wear shaper. It's gonna be like I kept saying I don't want to wear it." So anyhow, I let them. I put it on. I had it on, and when we get the dress on, because it's low cut right there, you could see the shaper
Oh
right there.
no.
So they're like, "We got to get it off." But my sister's like, "I don't want to mess with the zipper again." So she literally had to go underneath and pull the shaper.
Get off of you.
Okay, all right. And it was so sweet. Taylor, when it was off, Taylor was like, "I actually think you look better with it off." I was like, "Thank you, Taylor. Thank you."
Yeah.
No shaper. The dress actually was a little bit loose, quite frankly, than it ever been. Hey. And
Yes.
then it was so, oh, okay. Are you okay if I'm still going? Is this all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So we do all the things to get ready, and it's time for my first look with my dad. So I had my playlist, same playlist I did for the brand photo shoot. That music, I killed it when I made that playlist. That was going on. And it so just happened. I don't even remember having this song on there, but I guess somehow Boys to Men's Mama was on that that list, which I think is so funny because I don't even know why I put that song on there. Like I literally
Yeah.
have never heard it on my list. But I'm standing in the sitting area inside of the bathroom. My dad, who is always super punctual, got there early. We knew he would. But when it was time, he was inside there setting him up. And I was sitting there, and Mama came out. I was like, "You know what? I'm going to change this song." I was like, "Where's my phone?" And I switched it to Dance with My Father by Luther Vandross, which is a beautiful song. I know his father dies, but it's a beautiful song, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm like, it's about time. And I turn around to her, so I'm like, emotional. And she's like, I would be too. I'm like, okay. So my dad is standing there. Then and Alfred told me, walk up to him, pause. I'll tell you when to tap on him on the shoulder. I'm like, okay. So I walk up to him and I'm like, and I pause, I tap him, and he turns around and he's just like, and then he just starts crying. I'm gonna start crying talking about it. And then he just hugs me and we start dancing to the song. And we just, no words, we just danced and danced and danced. And then he stopped again and he was just like, you look amazing. And he just like, wow, wow. And we danced for the rest of the song. And I was bawling.
You're like, great, now I gotta do my makeup again.
I didn't even think about it. I was like, your makeup. And so I'm like, I'm bawling. He's crying. My sister's coming by and like dabbing our eyes. And
Yeah.
what I didn't know was my photographer was crying too.
Yeah.
He recently had lost his father. So he was crying. So later he's like, I'm so sorry. I don't usually lose it on. And I didn't know because Rochelle wiped his tears while he's taking pictures as well too.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, no. He's like, I lost my father. I'm like, no. No. My mom was crying. Everyone in the room was crying. It was the most beautiful thing. I was just
magical moment.
Magical. And my dad went to Rochelle later and he's like, I'm pissed at you. And she's like, why? He's like, because you didn't tell me what to expect. I didn't know she was gonna look so stunning.
Oh.
That was
just
special.
Like this whole experience, like this whole thing leading up to this, and it's like,
yes,
my daughter.
Yes, I'm so glad. I didn't want to do a first look with Scott because he needed to cry out there, right? Yeah. And my sisters were with me during the whole dress, so there's no point in doing a first look with them. They saw the dress, but to do it with my dad was just awesome. Really, really special. Like I can't even watch the video. Like someone did it on my phone, so I have it. I'm like, I can't watch this. I mean, I watch it, but I'm like, I can't. So then they call my friend Tanya. Like, Tanya, come back here. She messed up her makeup. And so I'm sitting there, and then Alfred comes in. He's like, actually, it looks pretty good. I don't know what's the problem. She comes in. She's like, it looks great because we'd said it so many times we need to find. But I go, why aren't you dressed yet, Tanya? She goes, what do you mean? I have time. I'm like, the wedding starts in like 10 minutes. She's like, isn't it 6:30? I'm like, no, it's at 5:30. She's like, I'm gonna show you. She had the original app, which when it was 6:30, oh no, 6:30. I'm like, oh no, it starts. I'm like, no, it's starts. She's like, okay, well, I'm good. I can do a couple things. Okay, we'll be ready. So it was a good thing that she got called back because for my makeup, because otherwise
she would have missed your wedding. She'd been looking out her villa like, I wonder what they're doing down there. Oh crap!
Then it was wedding time, and they all go out. This is my dad and I. He's looking out the window, looking for his cue, and he goes, you never look more beautiful. I'm like, we walk out. I walk down the stairs, and all of a sudden my veil goes and comes out because it got stuck on the stairs.
Oh no!
There were some of the staff. So my dad got it for me. He's like, I don't know how to put this. I'm working up, but the staff ran over and they helped me put it in. It was so windy that day, which was good, I think, for heat and whatnot. But when we walked down, and I got down when it was time to walk down the aisle, and I walked down the stand, and we put some flowers. They put flowers on the ground and whatnot. It was just so fun. I was just looking at everyone. Like I was just so happy. I was not nervous. I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I stopped for them to fix and do my dress. Then I started walking, and I could feel the veil coming with the wind. I was like, you know what? It's okay, veil. You've done your thing. You can go. I let it go.
I was gonna say, I don't remember seeing you in a veil.
Yeah, it was there for a quick moment, and right when I got to Scott, I let it go.
Okay.
And it's funny because if you watch, you see Rhonda, my sister Rhonda, and you see this looks like she has this beautiful white organza ribbon or chiffon ribbon coming from her bouquet, and it's actually
your veil
hanging on to, and it's just flowing. So then he was crying, so he did his job so well.
Yeah,
Scott did. It was just so loving. Like I got there, it was so good to see him, and his vows. He did such a good job with his vows. I was like,
I did not know you guys were gonna personally write them because I was like, I don't know if Scott would do something like that. And then when you guys did it, I was like, this is my freaking. Oh my god, I love written vows. They're amazing.
you know what I wanted to do them? I wanted to do them because I felt like we've come all this, we've gone, well, first of all, we had this dream wedding. We both wanted it to be this way. To do that and to be like, I take thee to do me, like, why? We could do that
Yeah.
at the courthouse. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no shade in it, but I'm like, I want it to be like from our heart.
Us.
And
Mhm.
so he later told me, and he's so funny. He's like, you totally blew my vows out of the water. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yours were amazing. You blew mine out of the water. And I wanted him to. So I glad that he did. But he said, he's like, I wanted to say things I've never said to you before. And I was like, I'm sweet.
Mm.
So I was crying during his, so he also, technically, I guess typically they said I should do the vows first, but Scott was like, no, I need them first. I need to get them done. We'll be like, let me do them first because I won't be able to make it. But he did his
Yeah.
first, then I did mine. But did you hear at the beginning, the Pastor Brown, was sitting at us and he's like, Scott and Morgan, did you hear it?
Yes, I did. I was like, wait, is that Scott's middle name? Like, I thought maybe he was like Scott Morgan.
Family members texting going, is Rox's name really Morgan?
Yeah, I'm like, huh, I'm gonna choose to just go with that one.
And Michelle said she could see Taylor and Jackson's different others and from her vantage point. And when Jillian turned to Cody and goes, is Roxanne's name really Morgan? And he's like, I don't know.
Oh, her real name's Morgan? Huh.
He said Morgan, and Scott and I just laughed. I laughed. I thought it was
Yeah.
funny. And if he had kept saying, call me Morgan, I know that Scott would have said, actually, her name is Roxanne. But what it didn't. But you could tell he realized because all of a sudden he started going slower, like caught himself like, oh crap, I said the wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I literally like I'm like that's either a mistake or it's Scott's middle name. Like Scott, I was like the way he said it, I'm like that just sounds weird.
And then we went to go sign the oh, by the way, and did you hear the song? Could you recognize the song when I was walking down the aisle?
I couldn't hear the song.
Oh, you couldn't? Okay. Oh, you were on the beach or you were on the pool. That's right.
And I was on my phone, so I either did like hear or
Or
watched. And
see. Oh,
so
gotcha.
I watched you come down the aisle.
So our song has always been Love Me Like You Do by Ellie Goulding. And I told him, I'm like, I want to go to that song. He's like, what? And I found there was like on YouTube, I'm like, surely someone has done like what they did on Bridgerton and someone has done
Like
a good
piano
instrumental
guys.
version. Yeah. And there was a great like violin and cellist had done it. And so I told our steel pan drum guy, I'm like, this is the song. Would you learn this? So he did on the steel pan to like background music and stuff. So that I was happy. I was like, ah.
Oh,
So then we went to go sign the vows, right? And it's down with like the tradition you sign, not the vows, the license.
yeah.
Roxanne Wilson, Pinsta. So I was like, look, it's here too. And I was like, look at this.
I'm crossing this out. I'm no longer a
I was
spinster.
like, fine, I'll sign this Pinsta BS, whatever. But I was just relaxed the whole time. I had such a good time. I had such a good time.
Amazing. That's so amazing. I didn't know like signing was part of the actual like wedding ceremony. Is that like
In
a
the Bahamas, it's a
Bahamas
Bahamian
thing?
thing. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
They
Okay.
also have a rule where you cannot get married after sundown. If your marriage is after sundown, it's not legal. Uh-huh. Isn't
Wow.
that interesting?
Is it legal in America?
After
Like
sundown?
now, because you got married in the Bahamas, like does that
Oh,
carry over?
allegedly, from what we've looked at, yes. But he and I are like, we need to make sure we don't need to do another license here. So yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
like go to the courthouse or something just to like
are we
make sure.
married? Yeah, yeah, but technically yes, but we are gonna look. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, our research showed yes, but we want to just really look. It's funny
Yeah.
we both said that. Like, we need to make sure. Um, and he loves his ring, which makes me so happy. He
Did,
loves his ring.
did you pick it out or did you guys do it together?
We did it together, but he only
Hmm.
tried it on like once.
Yeah.
Oh, well, his size is such that you can't actually try it on in the store. So
Oh.
we picked it out and then it came and he liked it, but he's like, I love my ring. He's like, look at sparkles. I'm like, mine sparkles too.
Yeah.
So we did, you saw the wedding and then we
Yeah.
took pictures. Poor guy sweat through his entire suit.
Oh my gosh.
His shirt, everything was so sweaty. At one point during pictures, I was like, Alfred, we got to go change. And he's like, Scott's like, what am I changing? Like, we've got clothes. Don't worry. He's like, really? He's like, you don't mind? You don't want me to give him suit? I'm like, no, I want you to be comfortable for the reception. Let's go change. So he changed. Rochelle bustled me up. But we were running. behind all of a sudden because the receptions will start at 7.
Yeah.
So like the love stream people are reaching out to Rich, who was in charge of it, saying like, "Hey, we're gonna be 30 minutes over." They charge about stuff. I'm like, "Do what you need to do." So we did kind of rush everyone. They were eating, but then we went for the cocktail hour. But then we went to the speeches, which the speeches are so
So
interesting
good.
because my dad, my sister, and Jax wanted to go first and get it over with,
Uh-huh.
and really downplayed what he was gonna like. He was amazing.
It started off where I was like, I'm not sure where we're going with this, And then all that he like turned it around and then he's crying and I'm like, oh my God. It was so
He's
good.
crying. I cried. Scott cried. Taylor was crying. Everyone was crying. Those are the best. But it was
Yeah.
funny is like he was talking to him later. I'm like, Jack, it was so great. Thank you so much. And he said, he was like, my plan was to make everyone else cry, not cry myself.
Not me.
And I was like, he said, under breath, I was like, fuck. I go, well, there is no under your breath when you're mic'd, right? He's like, do you think they can hear it? I'm like, maybe. And I've watched the wedding almost every day. And I'm like, I watched it and you hear him go,
Crap, here we go.
oh, so
Who
good. And
helped
my
your
sister,
dad? That was an amazing speech because it wasn't you. So who helped him write it?
I think he did it himself. I know.
It
I know.
was
And
it was so good. Like he did such a
so
great
good.
job and it was funny and like it was just so personalized. I'm like, oh,
He's amazing. I know. I know. And my sister, the speeches were really great for those of you stuck around. By the way, I have the recording. So I guess maybe if anyone wants, so you want to see the wedding, you're bored, you want to see a wedding. No one wants to see the wedding but the bride. I know.
I wonder, so, because when I watched it, it was like a little spotty. Is it more clear, like watching the replay?
Well, I watched on my phone. I watched yesterday. I watched it on the computer, and so it was more clear.
Okay.
So you have to see, but I think you watched it live though, right?
I watched it live.
Yeah. So now it
Heck
was
yeah.
clear. I thought it was clear. Jerry, heck yeah. Who do you think? I
I
thought it was
almost
clear.
risked my children probably drowning because we're like at the pool and I was like, I didn't really think this through. I'm like on
Thank
the
God.
edge, like trying
Thank
to
God what
watch.
I felt. Right? I watched your wedding, but the kids not so great. That would have been horrible.
I wouldn't have told you.
Horrible. That was yeah. But I would have figured it out. I'd been like, wait a minute, what time? When did that? I would have felt so bad. Um, so we're glad they're great. But the day before the wedding, that was one of my little stressors, was that they did like a check of the Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
and it was low, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what if it doesn't work live? I'm like, everyone else can watch it after, but I really wanted Scott's parents to see it live, and they were going over to family's house and they were doing the whole thing. They like printed
Yeah.
out the picture. I just wanted, and we sent them a gift bag prior, so they had it and it showed up with the magazine. I just really wanted them to be able to see it live, so I was so glad that it worked.
Yeah. That's
Thank you.
great. It did. And that little, I didn't know there was going to be a chat. I was like, oh my gosh, this is fun.
Right? Like, no, I read the chat too, and I was like, oh my God, it's so sweet. Very cool. Today, they're supposed to give me the downloaded videos and the guest book, because I don't even know who was everyone there, and then
Yeah.
also like the chat. I'm so excited to get all that. Rochelle kept going, who gets to watch their wedding the night of? I'm like, I know, I fell
Yeah.
asleep after consummating the wedding. The
Okay,
marriage.
good. We needed to know.
God kept telling me, that doesn't happen. No one does that. And I'm like, oh,
Yes,
I'm
they
totally
do.
right. He's like, no, they're so tired by then. So then I'm like, what are you doing? You said that no one does it. Then like, get away from me.
Well, we'll see you tomorrow.
Exactly. But I fell asleep watching the wedding, which was really cool to see like after what it looked like and stuff.
Oh,
And
cool.
then yeah, so then that was that day. Wedding day, we went to bed, obviously. The guests went to the pool, hung out, had it like kept the party going.
They just kept going without you guys.
It
They're like,
kept
see you
going,
later.
which I love. I love. But then the next morning, I didn't even get to say goodbye. I said goodbye to my family that night, the ones who left. Everyone left at
Oh,
Rochelle that night. Yeah, they flew back so the next morning. And because they
wow.
canceled the flight that leaves later, they had to leave early in the morning. They weren't gonna leave till like 2. but
Yeah.
the 2 p.m. But instead they had to leave like 6:37 in the morning because it's an island. They have one less flight. But if you want to get off the island, you got to get on the flight.
Yeah. Oh,
So
I thought
I
maybe they
didn't.
stayed another day.
Yeah, I wish that they had, but it just
Yeah.
didn't work out. So they all left. And then that morning we had, thank you again, rock stars, amazing breakfast, so good. And we got to just look out on the ocean. And then I think that day I got into the water. I did, and I was wearing my.
Finally, I didn't see any water pics of you swimming around.
Well, I don't bring my camera into the water, but someone might
Oh.
have some. I know because I don't want the ocean was so warm. I was like, oh, first of all, totally clear. You can see everything,
Yeah.
and it was warm. Was lovely. That day we floated around and then we had an evening cruise. We went out for an hour and a half on a boat. They took us out
Hmm.
there and we had a great time and just we saw starfish that were huge, huge
Cool.
starfish. You could see them and saw blue holes and whatnot. And then we went to a local bar we heard about called Mutta Stick. Mutta, not mother, but Mutta Stick. And it just so happens that the captain, we were saying we're going there, and our guide was like, "Oh, the captain of your boat, he actually owns the bar."
Oh,
Of
of
course he did.
course.
So we went there, and there were a lot of people who work at Sri Lamar that were there. So we got
Mhm.
to party with them and dance around and have a good time. There's this great song I have to find it. It says, "While you're looking for sugar, while you're looking for honey, someone's gonna taste your sugar." Basically, don't go out looking for other people because you're a woman at home. Someone's gonna be running after her. I love Caribbean music. I just love it so much. I love it
Oh,
so much.
that's
So they just brought they were chopping open coconuts, we're having coconuts, we're drinking, having a good time, and then our taxi came. Shirley, we get in the car, we're driving, and all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, oh, ran out of gas.
so that's
We're
why
gonna
I
go
saw you
somewhere.
pushing it. I'm like, did it break down? She ran out of
Ran
gas.
out of gas." And right before she ran out of gas, I was sitting next to Jill, and I turned around, I was looking behind us, and I go, "I'm so glad we're not walking in this pitch dark. There are no lights. It's pitch dark." And then it goes boom. She just manifested. You just shut her mouth.
Yep.
Boom, boom,
Why'd you
boom.
even say it?
Right there. I said it. So we're out. I'm like, "Is this real?" We walk out. She's got a big flashlight. She's like, "I need help." So the guys pushed the car into the side of the road,
Yeah.
and then we're just walking down this one road, walking down the road. Boop, 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 boop. So she's in front of us. Shirley's in front of us with the light, and all of a sudden she goes, "Oh, crab!" She runs into the grass, pulls out a crab. She was like,
You can
getting her
touch it?
dinner. Oh, they
That was her dinner?
she'll eat it today or she'll eat another day. Yes, they get the crab. They just grab her. Yeah. Oh, and
Ugh.
at the bar, a little girl at the bar who lived there, she had was taking out bigger and bigger crabs and showing people how to hold them and had them. I'm like, y'all are good. I'm not into that.
I
But
mean, I
yeah,
would eat
so
it, but I'm not gonna go catch it myself.
caught. She just grabbed it. When it's started, she grabbed the crabs like, "Oh, I got my crab."
Okay.
I know. Isn't that wild? Then we saw another crab and it had a thing of babies, like a pregnant crab. You let that one go. You let the pregnant one go.
So then
And
she
then
can make the babies that you can eat.
exactly.
Great.
And then I won't tell you too much more, but I'll tell you we walked. Okay, so we walked back, which is
How
cool because I
far?
got to see the sign and I wasn't far.
Okay.
It was super. Like we could see the little light ahead was the light of of Sri Lamar. We got a picture by the sign, which was good, and then we all went to the pool because that's what you do.
Yeah.
Um, what I will do, I could tell you more, but let me tell you one other really cool thing, which I'm super excited about. So they have a gift shop, and if you watch the show, you know that there's a gift shop there. Okay. When my sister was leaving the next day, I was like, "Oh yeah, Fat and I going to the gift shop." She's like, "Gift shop? There's a gift shop." I'm like, "Did you miss it on the tour?" So she runs over to the gift shop with me because the gift shop is closed unless you want to go in there. Because I mean, there's not a lot of people there, right?
Yeah.
Intimate. So we go in there, we shop and whatnot. And I have wanted to get pieces of Sarah Bomber's jewelry because I think they're beautiful and I've seen them online and whatnot. And I went back. I'm like, I was like, "Hey, I didn't see a specific piece, the end of piece, um, in there." And went to the front desk and Charlotte was sitting there, her daughter, and Shanique. And I'm like, "But we'll go back later." So anyhow, I go back later and Charlotte takes us in. So Charlotte is there helping us shop. And she's like, by the way, I talked to my mom, and if you don't mind giving your address, she wants to send you something.
How cool.
Do you prefer white or yellow gold? I was like dying.
And diamonds and wow. So
I'm
you're gonna get a
thinking
little
from airport.
surprise here soon.
And I told her, are you kidding?
That is so perfect. What a perfect like little memento.
So I was like, what? And I could keep going, but I don't want to take out too much of your time. The wedding was amazing.
Yeah.
It was a dream come true from beginning to end. I should mention the kids did get stranded in Nassau, and they just got Scott's kids. They just got back. They're on a flight to getting back right now.
Oh my gosh. And it's Tuesday as we're recording this. What day did they leave? Sunday?
They left Sunday, and they
Oh,
didn't get out of the Bahamas. Hold on, Baylor's crying. They didn't get out of the Bahamas till yesterday because of weather.
boo.
Boo is right. Apparently, weather was bad on the northeast,
Yeah.
so they got
So they had an
stranded.
extra day in the Bahamas, like to enjoy it or no?
No,
Like
I
at an
wish.
airport.
At an airport, the poor
Boo.
things had to like basically their flight kept on getting pushed back, and there was all this craziness, and then there was mechanical issues, and then by the time the mechanic got called in NASA to come fix it, the pilot timed out. The
Yeah.
pilot couldn't because they only worked 10 hours. So
Yeah.
then they canceled the flight. So all of that, it's like 3 or 4 in the morning by then.
Oh my
They were supposed to
God.
leave at 6
Yeah.
p.m. So
Oh
we
my
ended up
God.
spending the night in the airport, and it was so horrible.
That
But
sounds cool.
and we were
Oh,
traveling back that day. So my sisters and my dad, so sweet, were like keeping in touch with them the whole time, making sure that everything's okay. And so they got
yeah.
to Fort Lauderdale last night. Even that though, they had to like in a 2.5 hour line because it was a plane of everyone who got displaced. But last night they got into the hotel and sent pictures of the pool.
Good. I'm glad they found the pool.
And they're off almost home now. So it's just crazy shenanigans. They were the only ones who had issues that they had that. So, but anyhow, other than that, except for that, it was perfect.
It was perfect.
It was perfect.
Wow, Mrs. Budgel,
Mrs.
this has
Dugel,
been a great exclusive interview on
you
the
just let
Rock
me
Talks
talk.
podcast.
You just let me talk. Thank you so much for letting me like jibber jabber.
You know, it was funny. I was preparing for this podcast and I was going to write out all these questions and I went, oh, yeah, right. Like, I'm just going to let this flow and she's going to tell us the whole story and it's going to be great. So,
Did I answer all the questions you would have wanted to know though?
you know, one burning question I'm having is what is one thing that you would maybe do differently if there's any brides out there thinking of going there?
Um, Thinking what I do about the wedding or just in general the week.
Maybe the whole week. Yeah.
I think I would at the rehearsal because I just didn't care about the rehearsal. People wanted to do it again. I'm like, no, we're done. We're done. We're done. I probably was a little bit too dismissive of that because they really just wanted to make sure it was done right. And I'm like, nope, we're done. And so I think that I could have handled better.
Yeah.
Um, just so that they felt, yeah.
I'm with
That's
you though. Like you walk down the end of the story. That's it.
Yeah, if you walk down wrong, you walk down wrong. But I understand how it was very important to them to make sure they got it right. And so I
Yeah.
do feel bad about that. I was like, oh, could have handled that better. But I'm
Mhm.
like, no, we did it once. We out of here.
Mhm.
Yep. Every one thing. And then I would just say, y'all, your wedding is your wedding. And I know there's so many different people that are involved in it. You want, like, I desperately wanted everyone to have a great time, and I hope they did. But ultimately, you make it so that you enjoy the heck out of it. And it goes too fast.
Mhm.
It just was, I'm like, when we were on the plane, I'm like, this is going too fast. It goes too freaking fast.
Yeah.
So
So
treasure those
does.
moments and all those things. And the other thing I would say is it's wild that you go through, I was getting the dress fittings every 2 weeks. You go through that process and see the dress. And then the day of, you don't even see yourself in the dress. Like you literally, like, it's not like I have my camera, I don't have my phone. So it's like, it's
It's
so
not like there's
wild.
mirrors.
Exactly. It's so wild to think that you like spend so much time looking at this dress and the day of, you're like, oh yeah, I didn't even, someone asked me, Carrie, who who listens to the podcast and whatnot, and she's in the RoxTalks community. She's like, "Are you gonna show us a picture of the dress?" And I said, "I don't think I have one." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Hang on, I gotta get one from someone." She's like, "Oh, come on, you must have one." I'm like, I didn't take pictures at the wedding. Some
Hmm.
people took pictures on my phone for free, but I'm like, I'll it won't get to me eventually. But it's so wild that you spent all this time on this dress, and then it's just you feel confident in it, but you don't see all the things. I don't know, just the
I think
observation.
that's kind of nice because you probably felt like you didn't have to worry about it. Like if it
Didn't have
didn't
to work
fit or something wasn't working, you would have been thinking about it the whole time. And then like I need to look
100%.
in the mirror, but like you did all this work so you could just feel beautiful and not even worry about a darn thing.
100%. You're right. And I actually ended up getting out of the dress. I didn't want to, but after I had everyone do cuff it. So my dance instructor, I think I told you in dance, since I don't know what I said, didn't say. He has a dance gym to Cuff It by Beyonce. And
Okay.
right before I left for my wedding, for my
Oh yeah,
bridal,
everyone was gonna
yeah,
learn it. Yes.
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 So I was like, y'all, you can learn it. I got it. Let's do it. So we did it. By the time I was done doing it, I was like, I'm so hot. I'm overheating. I'm like, I gotta get out of the dress. And I had an outfit just in case, so I switched to that. But I was like,
Yeah.
I am heating up. It's time to
Yeah.
go.
Yes.
Yeah. So there we
All
go.
right. My final question, Roxanne, are you going back to the gym this week? Or
Yeah,
are you taking a break, girl?
I was gonna go to dance yesterday, but that didn't happen because it was Scott's last day
Yeah.
before work. So he's back at work. I got on the scale this morning and I weighed the same that I did the last time I which makes me wonder, do does food like just not count on the or maybe I'd lost more weight and didn't realize it between me and then I'm like, I'm still gonna weight
I mean, you were in the
amazing.
Bahamas, you were eating real food versus American food. Like, I feel just bloats you.
I think you're right. So the food was so very good. So I am going to maybe go to the gym today. Tomorrow I'm back with my trainer and we're back on things. Yes. I'm gonna do 4 days of cardio, not 7.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
love the body.
Yeah, keep it, girl. You worked hard for that. Keep it.
I'm gonna keep it more than 70 days. Hell yes.
Snatched
So
wifey now.
there we go. Here I am.
All right, you guys, this was so fun. I'm so glad you let me do this. And because I'm
Oh
like,
my
we're not talking
God.
about anything important today except for your nuptials. So,
We'll talk about threads next week because that was rude of them to pull that out while I was
yeah.
gone. It's rude.
Yeah.
I'm busy. We're getting
Yeah,
married.
we need to think about this threads a little bit before we make our official announcement.
There you go. There you go.
Mm.
I love you, Tear Bear. I know you're
Love
with
you,
me in
Rox.
spirit, and thank you for everything.
Love you. Love you
Love you.
all, listeners. We'll see you next week.